This is my third time recording the video. In the last two tries, I've been reading this article verbatim. That's not been good because I've been going way over because I also want to get my thoughts in. So I'm just going to highlight certain areas. And if you want to read the full article, I'll include it in the description. But essentially, this has to do with the comment that somebody made on one of my more recent videos. I think it might be the first one about me moving back to the PC. He said something about PC gaming is dying, and I went ahead and read this article, and I want to touch on a couple things. Essentially, what we have here is I don't see it dying, but I do see it taking a back seat to consoles, especially with games delivering first to the console and presumably to sell hardware. And that's Douglas Peterson, a PC gamer software engineer from Marcus Island. And the developers are starting to develop for consoles versus the PC. Now, here's the drill. Let's see. Here it is. Peter Molyneux, chief of Lionhead Studios, told Gameblog Shack News last week that he thinks the PC is becoming a casual gaming machine and anathema to hardcore PC gamers everywhere. Now that's the big thing I see here, is becoming a casual gaming machine. Now, to me, that's just fine, because I am a casual gamer. Hardcore gamers, as much as I respect you, I usually don't listen to much of your opinion, and the only reason I say that is because of what we're going to see here in just a second. The million-dollar question, of course, is why PC games sell fewer copies than their console counterparts. Everybody has a PC. Far fewer folks own a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. But at $350 and $400 respectively, those consoles are far cheaper. You know, and again, you can read this for yourself. This here is one of the things I wanted to address. You don't need to drop $4,000 on a tricked-out gaming PC. If you're a casual gamer, this was new to me. I believe, was it MN12Bird or somebody made a comment? Excuse me. That given my needs, Lara Croft, flight simulators, and there was one other title that I just thought of, and it just escaped my mind. Oh well. But games like that, they said any old PC will do fine. And it says here, again, you don't need to drop $4,000 on a tricked-out gaming PC. And this is basically the misinformation is having a real burden on the PC gaming industry. We're making the barrier to entry higher than it needs to be. And that is really up to the industry. So basically, it's the misinformation that's going around. It's myths. Easy or not, PC game... Ooh, excuse me. Pardon me. Ooh. Sales were dwarfed by consoles and console games in 2007. The key words here, at least at retail. Again, at least at retail. PC game sales accounted for $911 million in revenue, relatively small percentage of the $18.8 billion. There's one missing piece of this equation, so they're talking about World of Warcraft. Let's see. While we haven't yet publicly released our first quarterly data, I can tell you that non-retail sales, again, non-retail sales, related to PC games, in other words, you buy in other words, buying them online, which makes sense because a lot of times with online you just store them in a warehouse and you don't have to worry about putting the extra money on that would otherwise go to, you know, store upkeep and whatnot. So non-retail sales related to PC games is bigger than what occurs at retail. So the PC game market is clearly still thriving. Okay? So, a lot of misinformation has led to the perception that PC gaming is on the way out. If you look strictly at retail, as you have seen in this article, and again, you can read this more in depth for yourself, and I'll include the link, if you look at retail, you may think that's the case, but if you look at online, that's certainly not the case. Heck, I was on the Apple website, and there's a whole plethora of games available for the Mac. For those of you who have not seen it yet, I downloaded a level of Lara Croft Tomb Raider Anniversary, and I've got a little gameplay thing on it. The GMAX 3100, while certainly not top of the line, does all right with Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And again, if the PC is becoming a casual gaming platform, it's always been thought of as the PC as the hardcore gaming platform. That's certainly not the case anymore, and that's fine with me. I don't mind. But the other thing is, why don't more people have game on a PC and they'd rather go with the Xbox 360? It has to do, I think, with the software contracts. The developers are locked into contracts with the console manufacturers so that they have to develop for the consoles, and they also see the consoles' overall sales as people would buy it more on the console than they would on the PC, at least at retail. A lot of people might not be aware of buying online as far as these games are concerned. But let's look at it this way: the economy has taken a really heavy toll on people, and even people who have not needed to worry about certain services are starting to look into them very seriously. Let's say that you've had a computer for a while and you need a new one. You absolutely have to have a new one because it doesn't keep up with today's internet standards. And you have a child and they want a game system, and you can only afford one or the other. Which of the two would you rather get? Well, the PC is certainly a viable gaming platform. And again, non-retail sales related to PC games is bigger than ever, and the PC games market is clearly still thriving. So the PC is definitely a contender for games. And it can help out the family. It's like the Commodore 64 way back in the 80s. People went ahead and bought this because they could do more with it than just game. They could use it as a computer. They could write up reports on it and whatnot. With today's internet, you get a PC, you can do research on jobs, money-saving tips, and at the same time, your child can still have their games. And for a relatively, like a budget PC that does just the casual gaming, nothing super fancy, nothing high-end, you'll be fine. And it makes me wonder, I'm thinking that PC games, now this is just my take on it, but I actually found something somewhere that said PC games are actually on the rise as far as sales go, and as you can see, PC games non-retail is bigger than what it is at retail. So what that tells me is, given the economy, I think that maybe a lot of people are turning to PC gaming because you have a PC, it's cheaper to get a gamepad for it in a few games than having to buy a whole new console. It just makes more sense, I think. But yeah, so PC gaming definitely alive and well, and that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome. Insults against me will get you blocked. Again, everyone, thank you very much for your help, and have a nice day.